Pop, or population count, can be a misunderstood term in the hobby. When I first returned to collecting, I heard a number of people talk about how pop is one of the things that determines the value of a card. At face value, that makes sense. The price of a card is determined by its supply. But as I learned more about the hobby, I found plenty of exceptions to this. Valuable cards can also have very high pop counts. To dig a little deeper to understand pop, I did an experiment. I went to PSA's sports market research data and made a list of the 10 most valuable cards in PSA 8 grade for each top set between 1968 and 1975. I know the prices in the SMR are traditionally low compared to what cards actually sell for at auction, but I think it offers a consistent tool for comparing which cards are more valuable than others. I also like comparing cards in grade 8 because it's a desirable grade, one that is generally accessible to most collectors. Once I had a list of the 10 most valuable cards per set, I then cross-referenced it with PSA's population reports. This allowed me to see if there was any relationship between a card's value and its pop. As you can see in the 1968 data, the most valuable cards in the set, Mantle, Ryan, and Bench, also have the highest pop counts. This also happens in 1973 and 1975. You could actually make a good argument that there's an inverse relationship, that the highest pop cards have the highest value. Why is this? It's quite simple, really. As a card gets more desirable, the price differential between a raw card and a graded card gets more extreme. People will then submit more cards for grading to PSA. And it's not just raw cards. You also get a number of cards that had previously been graded by PSA or another third-party grader. These collectors are breaking them out of their cases, submitting these cards, hoping for a bump up to a higher grade. And ultimately, that's the fallacy of pop. It only tells us how many cards were ever submitted to PSA and received a particular grade. If a card is cracked out of its PSA case and resubmitted, it's essentially counted twice. And that's why I think pop is largely meaningless in determining a card's value, except when it's not. Let's look at the 1969 set. The number 3 most valuable card in PSA 8 is Lou Brock. Sure, Lou Brock is a Hall of Famer, but 1969 is the only time he shows up in the top 10 list from 1968 to 1975. His 1969 card in PSA 8 is more valuable than Aaron, Clemente, Mays, even Nolan Ryan. What gives? If you look at the pop report, you see that there are only 134 examples in PSA 8 grade, about 1/6 as many as Nolan Ryan. In a set that was notoriously printed off-center, Lou Brock's card is the ultimate example. It was placed at the top left part of the printing sheet, making it nearly impossible to get a clean, centered card. There are only 7 PSA 9 cards and 0 Gem Mint 10s. Let's look at another example, the 1971 Claude Raymond. Because of notoriously poor centering, in PSA 8 grade, this card has a ridiculously low pop of only 46. That makes it more valuable than every other card in the set except Thurman Munson, which also has an extremely low pop of its own. The last time a PSA 8 Raymond sold was in March 2019 for $1,275. It's more valuable than Aaron, Clemente, Mays, Bench, or Ryan. One caveat about low pop cards. They aren't all created equal. A 1980 Bombo Rivera in PSA 8 has a pop of 6, but that doesn't mean it's worth anything. That very low pop count has to be combined with a player or set that has strong desirability from collectors. That's the only time that pop really matters. Thanks for watching and for your continued support of the channel with your comments and thumbs up. Also, check out my Instagram, linked below, for daily posts of cards from my personal collection. And collect what you love.